like a great, fun time. I actually kind of want to start one with the most recent news.
Something you've already blown up your entire roster once.
Houston just made such a big announcement.
Disappointing. Cannot be more disappointing than the Toronto Defiance.
All of a sudden, when you say that, and you're like, oh yeah, Dallas is probably third place. Where do you put Houston? All our talks about what the tank line's going to be like, and they said, fuck it, nothing's going to stay.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Offseason is Hard, Shouldn't You Be Too? I'm your host, Fracture OW. Now, I did advertise this show a couple months back. It was in the works. I was planning on recording it with some friends. Unfortunately, logistics and life came up, and now it's just me. But you know what? That's okay, because now you just get the full unmitigated copium and hopium that are my takes. So, without further ado, let's jump into this because we have like 30-ish days until the season starts, and there's like 20 teams to go through. So, yeah, let's dive into it. Atlanta Reign. We'll start off with the Atlanta Reign. So the Atlanta Reign. Coming out of this offseason, their tank line has not changed. They've kept Gator and Hawk. Their DPS line, however, has changed. They have let Pelican go. He has gone off to the Houston Outlaws to play with his homie Piggy. And in his place, they've brought in Nero. And then they have also picked up Venom, DPS player who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be their Tracer player. And then for their back line, this offseason we saw the departure of Massa, who went to the Vancouver Titans, and instead they picked up OG, and you also saw the departure of Iris, and you've seen them pick up Ultraviolet. So a quick rundown on the rookies coming into this season for the Atlanta Reign. Ultraviolet and OG are both supports. OG is a main support player who has previously played for American Tornado. So, needless to say, expectations for this kid are high. He played on American Tornado, the best team in NA contenders for 2 years? Then you also have Ultraviolet, who, whoop-de-doo, played for Redbird Esports and American Tornado. So, that's big. And he is their flex support player. He plays BAP, Zen, Ana, those kinds of things. And then Venom, who has also seen playtime in NA contenders for Odyssey. And pretty much, prior to that, he hadn't been on too many familiar teams. In Contenders 2020, he played for LFT. And before that, he played in Open Division Korea for a team called Normal. Venom's characters, at least according to Wikipedia, are Tracer, Cassidy, and Hanzo. I would expect that we see him come in strictly to play Tracer, given that the Atlanta Reign have Kai, who can play the Cassidy, the Hanzo, the Widow, the Ashe, all those kinds of hit scan characters. And then you have Nero, who is their flex DPS. So you will most likely see Nero come into play stuff like the Pharah, the Doomfist. Well, oh yeah, that's something to note actually. Going into Overwatch 2, Doomfist has moved over to the tank role. So there is the possibility that if we see any Doom play in Overwatch 2, that we see flex DPS players flex over to the tank role just to fill that Doom role. There is the potential for that to happen. I wouldn't say that's guaranteed, because one of the tank players could obviously pick that up as well. But there is that possibility. Nero would also play characters like the Mei for the Atlanta Reign. Now for the tank line of Gator and Hawk. Gator, to me, seems like the more flexible tank out of the two of them. Hawk is really good Sigma and a really good Diva. Outside of that, I've never really seen Hawk play the Hog or the Zarya. And the reason that I say Gator is the more flexible is because we've seen him play Ball, we've seen him play Orisa, and we know how good his Orisa and Ryan are. And we've also seen him play the Sigma. So he is the more flexible, but from what we have heard of Overwatch 2 is that characters like Zarya and Diva are pretty strong right now. So there is the potential for Hawk to get in the lineup, especially if he is performing better than Gator. And especially if you're going to see the Diva, I think we see Hawk pretty early on. But if you're looking for a one-stop shop, a plug that fits all the holes, Gator is the closest thing that the Atlanta Reign have, in my opinion. I rate his flexibility a little bit higher than Hawk's. I think he brings more leadership to the team than Hawk does, because Gator does kind of have a swagger about him, and really does, like, and the Atlanta Reign have always kind of had this air of not giving a shit, kind of feeling like we saw them, like, what was it, Hop Off Point versus Spitfire, and which really felt kind of like punching down, but again, they don't give a shit, and Gator kind of embodies that in this team a little bit, I think. So I think there's more benefits to having Gator in the lineup, even if they are intangibles, than compared to Hawk. Now, where do we see Atlanta Reign placing at the end of the season? Well, you're going to have to wait and see, because I have to go through the other teams in NA first. But there are certainly better teams in the league this season. Look at Dallas. Look at, Gladiators are looking to be strong this year. Then there's also teams like New York, who, if they get their shit together and have their shit together, should be phenomenal, because they have Yaki, they have Flora, they have Kellen coming out of Contenders Korea. But we'll get to Nixel in another episode. For now, we're going to finish off with the excitometer for the Atlanta Reign, and it's really just to say, how excited are we about the Atlanta Reign? My honest opinion, let's see. How do I feel about the Atlanta Reign? I've never been a big fan of the Atlanta Reign. That being said, they are a good team. I'm going to put them at a 6 out of 10 for how excited I am to see them play. I think there are more interesting teams this season than the Atlanta Reign. The Atlanta Reign have always been a team that I've kind of rooted against, but but as far as the excitometer goes, I prefer underdogs. Teams like, say, the Vancouver Titans, who have not been good, might and are still looking to be one of the weaker teams, but have some like scrappy players on their team, like Shockwave, like Aspire. They've brought in players like Masa, who can have these pop off moments and make team fights scrappy and entertaining and still put up a fight. Versus a team that I expect to be pretty stable, like the Atlanta Reign. I'm not as excited to see them play, so they get a 6 out of 10 for me. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to the first ever episode of The Offseason is Hard. Shouldn't you be too? I've been your host, and I will catch you guys in the next episode, where we go over, let's say, the Boston Uprising.